something I read last week is that SAT scores in Fairfax County have actually gone up and they are above the global average. So one of the things that parents love about Fairfax County in general are the highly rated public schools. It's one of the things that leads people to move here versus other parts of Northern Virginia. A lot of times in our videos, we talk about high schools because we kind of look at it as a top-down thing, where usually when you see a higher rated high school, you also see the schools at the lower level are a little bit better as well. That's not always the case though. What we see here is that the Fairfax County numbers, actually the overall mean was just over 1,200. And just to put that in perspective, the state average was 1151, and then the global average is 1060. So I thought that was pretty interesting. One thing Fairfax County did last year, even during the pandemic, and just so you know, during the pandemic, the number of kids taking the test went down just a little bit.
Oh, did it? Okay.
But Fairfax County started this thing last year where they offered the test for free on a weekday at the school.
Oh, wow.
And so they did that last year, and 63% of students took the test and took the SAT. And they offered it again this year, and that actually was today.
Oh, okay.
So that's one great thing, is that they're giving students an opportunity. Sometimes the barrier to entry for those type of tests is going to be the cost of taking it. And so we don't have high school kids yet, but it's something that we already talk about is, preparation for the SAT.
ACT prep scores, yes.
SAT. So we're
SAT,
from
yes.
Louisiana. We took the ACT, but
Gotcha.
Kids here will take the SAT. And so that was just something interesting. And while we're talking about schools, I also I shared an article with you this morning.
Okay.
About U.S. News. If you've watched any of our videos, whether it's our older school videos or even the more recent area videos, one of the things we always talk about is U.S. News, because when we're looking at high school rankings, we get that from U.S. News typically. And the reason I go with U.S. News versus, say, a Great Schools or a School Digger is because Great Schools relies a little bit more on parent opinion. And I feel like Great Schools, in my opinion, rates the schools more harshly. And I feel like Niche is almost
too lax,
right? And so I look at U.S. News when I'm looking at the high schools because they are based more on graduation rates, test scores, the number of students taking and passing AP tests. And so I like U.S. News. And also because they rank them not only amongst schools in Fairfax County, but the entire state of Virginia, as well as the DC metro area.
Yes.
Because a lot of people who are moving here are not limiting their home search to just Virginia.
Exactly.
So if schools are a priority for them, they may look at other parts of the DC metro area. So anyway, I say all that to say that up until now, they'd only had high school ratings. And as of today, U.S. News now is going to be rating elementary and middle schools as well. I haven't seen all the numbers yet, but I'll be interested to see how their numbers compare to like Great Schools and Niche as far as top schools in Fairfax County in elementary school. And just really quickly, the top elementary schools in Fairfax County, I did save those, are Sangster Elementary, which is going to be one of the AP centers, and that's the Advanced Placement Center in Fairfax County, as well as Poplar Tree, which is in Chantilly, Mosaic, which is in Fairfax, and then Springfield Estates, which is another Advanced Academic Placement Center. It's actually the Advanced Academic Placement Center for our neighborhood.
That's true.
And so students who qualify are able to go to that school to have full-time AP placement for elementary school. So I thought that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing, like I said, how the numbers compare to the other schools, because U.S. News said they're only looking at reading and math proficiency, where again, other factors are considered when rating the schools through other means.
So if you're watching right now, if you're to this segment, right, you made it to this segment, what's your preferred way of ranking schools, right? So we know that a lot of people will either use greatschools.org, they'll use Niche.
School Digger's the other one.
School Digger is another one. How do you rate schools, right? Because that's one of the questions that we asked during the Perfect Home questionnaire is what tool are you using? And then we like to cater your home search to the schools that are in that rating, right? So
absolutely. Because for some people, schools are the top priority. And for other people, other factors are. And so we like to know like what's going to be most important to you. Patrick, you said, how are the public schools? Fairfax County has a lot of highly rated public schools. And so it really depends on, again, what your priority is. So I was actually, even in my notes here, it says I'm a bit conflicted about the US News, the way they're doing the elementary and middle schools, because I feel like those other factors are kind of important.
Like what?
Like how you interact with the administration, what type of programs are available. So we know that some schools have extracurricular activities while other schools have none.
Yes.
Some schools offer foreign language programs as a standard in school, while other schools only have a Spanish after school program or a foreign language after school program.
Right.
So I think that for most parents, I think that it's a couple of factors, not just test scores.
So Patrick, I would say that the public schools here are great compared to other parts of America. We have some of the highest or the top rated public schools. I also think that another factor that goes into public schools in general is what type of parents are located here. And so since you have parents we have some of the highest educated parents here, we have some of the highest concentration of 2-parent homes here, there's just really less stress in the home life of the kids, which means that they could perform better at school, right? And so considering that the public school system here is just going to be a better environment than some other areas, just because we don't have as many negative challenges outside of the school life, right, for the kids.
And so I think because of that, like for us personally, we were considering moving a couple years ago. We actually thought that we would move this next year when our oldest son started high school and our youngest son would go to 7th grade.
Right.
We thought we would move to one of the highest rated pyramids. And ultimately, the way we look at it is we view our schools in our area as like a 90. This is our personal rating, right?
Right.
And so we feel like, well, we could move to this other neighborhood that won't have some of the other things we love about where we live to get to a 97.
Right.
And so I was like, well, do you uproot us and where we live and even our business and things? Do we do that in order to get from a 90 to a 97? And for us, we decided that we have enough here in our home as far as supporting our kids and activities that they're able to participate in, that we felt like it wasn't worth the move.
Yes, and I would say that diversity decreases drastically as you move into the higher tier public schools in Fairfax County, right?
Yes,
and so,
because most of the higher tier public schools are going to be in the higher cost of living parts of Fairfax County.
Right.
And so the higher the home prices, the less diversity is what we found.
Yes, and so that is also a part of the quality of life for us with our boys. So we have 2 boys right now, they're 11 and 13. So they're 6th and 8th grade. We look at their school life like we look at your real estate search, right? We want you to have an overall great experience. And so grades or the performance of the school is just one component to a great public school experience. Diversity for us is important for our boys to see representation at the school and a great community feel. So those are the things that we're looking for that may not be important to some individuals. So hopefully, Patrick, that answers your question. So Patrick, got another comment here. My family tells me about the schools. My cousin stays in Woodbridge, but I want to stay in Fairfax. Again, Woodbridge is just further, right? It's further away. Woodbridge schools are not as highly rated as Fairfax County schools. Everybody knows that. Also, Arlington schools are, for the most part, especially in North Arlington, are rated higher than Fairfax County. Yeah. So, and also Loudoun County schools are rated higher than almost all of the counties,
yes,
right?
But then you have to live in Loudoun.
Which
is nothing wrong with living in Loudoun.
Yes.
It's just farther away.
Yes.
It's farther away.
So you just have to consider that. If schools is your primary component of your research or your drive to move to this area, then Fairfax County is going to outperform the Woodbridge schools in most of the stats, right? So the challenge then becomes is that Fairfax County, as you move further north, right, especially if you go into the McLean, which is the northern part of the county, it's very expensive, right? But then if you go into Lorton, which is the southernmost part of the county, then it's more affordable. So now you still have the same challenges of commute, right? Like how long of a commute do you want, and what type of house can you afford, right? McLean was one of the most expensive zip codes that we just covered. So can you afford to live there? Then, I don't know.
And so one of the things that people trade off when they decide to live in Woodbridge versus living in Fairfax County is that they'll get a house in a single family home in Woodbridge.
Right.
For what they would pay for a townhouse in Fairfax County.
Yes.
And so a lot of people choose to move out to Woodbridge to get a little bit more space.
Exactly.
But then you get a little bit more traffic.
you do get a little bit more traffic. But if space is important to you, then moving south or moving to the west is your only alternative, or just make some more money. So my name is Abraham Walker. This is Crystal Walker, and we are with the Ask a Walker team. We're a husband and wife real estate team. In the future, we're going to be coming live, on Wednesdays?
Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, right? So schedule it, set it in your calendar. So that's it for the show. We'll see you on next week.
Excellent.
Peace.